Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Supervisor Aliaga,
Yes.
Clerk Newbeck here, Treasurer Brown,
Here.
Trustee Morocco,
Here.
Trustee Nalamothu,
Here.
Trustee Ritchie,
Here.
and Trustee Tedder.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Need a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'd like to make an amendment.
Which type
So
of-
I'd like to add to regular business to discuss Township Times articles. I'd like to get input from the board. And so we can add that and have a discussion, that'd be great.
Under L12. That'd be I'll agree to the amendment.
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, board public announcements, anyone from the board who would like to make any public or comment?
I have a couple.
Sure.
I just want to remind everyone again that the filing deadline for public office is next Tuesday by 4 p.m. You must file your affidavits at the clerk's office. If you need packets, we do have packets available to pick up prior to. Solicitors, our office handles solicitor permits, and we will have clean water action that will be going around throughout the township starting now through the end of June. They are an environmental organization working for clean and safe water, waste prevention, and funding for enforcement of environmental protection. And lastly, I want to mention NOHAS. This is something that we're all familiar with. NOHAS will begin for the first time for this year on April 27th at the Oakland County Service Center in Pontiac, and the collection fee then per car for Independence Township residents is $15. You do have to pre-register prior to, and we do have a link on our website if you need more information, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Trustee Morocco?
I just want to let everybody know that May 14th is the open house for the Bailey House for the construction tech program. That's every year we have a big open house to showcase all the amazing work that the kids have done throughout the year. It's from 4 to 7 p.m. Everyone's welcome to come check it out if you haven't seen the project, and hope that some people can come see it. It's pretty amazing. So that's May 14th, 4 to 7. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Let's move on. Public comments. Anyone that would like to come to the podium? Becky. State your name and address, please. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pat Kittle, Township resident for 25 years. I live at 4647 Oakhurst Ridge Road. And thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. My presentation might take more than 5 minutes, so I would ask your indulgence based on past practice that I've seen at prior board meetings. You know, I wanted to give you a little walk down memory lane about some things that have happened recently, and then, you know, start to pull out the crystal ball on things that I see coming up into the future. And I'll have another handout for you that, you know, to address my concerns with the future.
Sure. But, so we will give you extra time, that's fine. We done it in the past, there's no problem
Thank you, sir.
for this.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And most of you probably remember this when I was still working in the township. We had a reorganization plan that we put together where we decoupled the building department and the planning and ordinance enforcement department. Our prior director had retired, And it was now a time to put together a new structure in place to, how I sold it, was to better fit skill sets and then to also gain some cost efficiencies, because we had a very high dollar employee leave and we had 2 other guys come in with less money, and anyhow, the math worked
Can I
out.
please interrupt you for a minute? I don't know if your microphone's not on, but it's not very loud.
It is.
We're gonna see if we can just get it adjusted.
It
I
is.
just
Okay.
messaged
All right.
LKC.
So what, is that better? Maybe I'll just get closer to it. So, and again, what I had heard that over time, that there were just more concerns being addressed with people doing work without permits in the community. But it did seem to focus on kind of a small group of guys. And the construction group here in Independence is a pretty tight-knit group. They've all come up the ranks together. Everybody knows each other. So there were a lot of favors done. So again, to address this issue, that's when we put the plan together, which was ultimately approved by the board, to separate the planning from the building, to put more accountability and checks and balances back into the process. So once that was approved, one trustee on the board, Mr. Morocco, went on a record multiple times, claiming this change was a waste of township funds, that the township would revert back to past practice, with the old director doing just fine. With the township not acquiescing to Mr. Morocco's demands, he then began a campaign to try to discredit the new planning and ordinance officer, Brian Ottman, with disparaging comments at meetings, the press, and social media, and I think you've all seen that over the course of time. This information campaign then expanded, with Morocco stating Kittle's reorg plan was nothing more than a ploy to make it easier for developers to get plans approved, which was about as far from the truth as you can possibly get. And then beginning spreading more disinformation, from what I hear, that Kittle was in the hip pocket of developers and taking bribes. Again, for those of you who know me, I'm the guy who wouldn't even take a cup of coffee from someplace, from somebody. So, needless to say, I was rather surprised to see the next couple of events happen. There was a letter that went out to Mr. Morocco dated February 27th, that says a swimming pool was permitted on your residence, however, placement in front of the house is in violation of some Michigan residential building code. I don't know what that is. Permit was issued for an 18 by 11 shed with no plans or plot plan. The permit application stated the shed would be located in the setback in the R1R residential district, again in violation of the Michigan residential building code. The ZBA granted approval of a new accessory structure in 2017. As of now, the permits have expired. And that aerial photography shows a pool house was built sometime between 2012 and 2014 with no permits. Placement in the front setback is also a violation of the Michigan building code. Again, these aren't my words, these are the words from the township. I was informed that upon notification, the owner of the parcel, Mr. Morocco, met with the township to explain the site omissions and ordinance deficiencies, stating in short, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, I wasn't there personally, this is what I've heard, that the prior building planning and ordinance director, the one that had retired that I made reference to earlier, said it was okay to proceed with the plans, as sketchy as they were, and little to no permitting on some of the structures, falling clearly outside the established permitting and approval process. Again, I just find this ironic that Mr. Morocco, being the one most vocally opposed to that separation of, I'll just call it church and state, it goes to show me that our plan that was approved was consistent with its ultimate goal. So again, with over 20 years of construction experience and planning commission experience, if anybody should know the rules better than anybody, it would be Mr. Morocco. And like I said, I'm not sure what his motivation was, but the letter, seemed pretty clear. The next topic I'd like to address had to do with the Bailey House. Before I left the township in September of 21 for my health reasons, I left a note for whoever would be the new supervisor to check on a multitude of issues. The Bailey House restoration project was included as one of these because I had heard that no permits had been applied for and that Mr. Morocco had stated that he did not need permits because it was a school project. that one I did hear. The concept was amplified, obviously, on my side because of the students that would be on site working, trying to learn. Supervisor Fisher must have found the note had merit and asked the building official, Moran, to conduct a home inspection in March of '22, which generated the following report. This report was also read by Mr. Ottman to the PC in, I believe it was February of '23, about a year later. Basically, the note said the demo permit expired without documentation of work prescribed, completed, inspected, or approved. Work being constructed inside and outside being completed with no approved plans or required permits. Site lacking safety signage on sash vault per our CLC standards for high-speed zones. Soil erosion permits not issued as required for long-term projects. And lastly, submitted plans for proposed renovations are not acceptable for lack of detail. In a follow-up memo to Moran, Supervisor Fisher said that he has begun a dialogue with the school superintendent to address these issues, but he needs more details on the safety related issues. Again, my understanding is upon being notified, Mr. Morocco did meet with the township to explain, any project deficiencies, ordinance violations, and safety concerns, and started to make a good faith effort to rectify those. But again, for some unknown reasons, the character assassinations against the planning official Ottman continued through February of '23, making claims that Ottman attacked an outstanding program when it was in fact originated by the supervisor at the time, Mr. Fisher. It is my understanding that Mr. Ottman was very frustrated as he got into the 2023 calendar year. Mr. Ottman read the summer report to the Planning Commission in February of 2024 in an effort to dispel the many public untruths being spread. And the public attacks continued. Knowing building official Moran to be a very extremely thorough individual, I FOIA'd the township for the detail behind the summer report that Ottman had read and received the following. This is the document that you have in front of you that shows 27 photographs, many of them highlighting the deficiencies that were explained in this note. I had been told that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, there's 27 pictures here that shows that while this was a tremendous project in concept, an absolutely vital component for our school curriculum to be able to provide trade school learning to students. Not everybody can go to college to become a rocket scientist. We need plumbers, we need carpenters, we need roofers. This was a great opportunity to do this. But for some unknown reason, the decision was made to shortcut an established process to keep these kids safe. So, and it's my understanding as of last week that the Bailey House is still deficient, meeting permitting and ordinance requirements. Again, having kids learn a trade is critical. Again, Mr. Morocco has gone on record saying the restoration is a great project, and again, I absolutely agree with the concept. But after seeing the pictures and seeing the project is still non-compliant, I'm going to leave final judgment to you. Now, I would ask the ITV gentleman if you could flip a couple of these pictures on the screen so that the people.
Mr. Kittle, I believe I didn't authorize to have that presented for tonight, but you give the copies to everybody in the board. We
Okay,
have the
perfect.
copies.
If anybody in the audience would care, I have additional copies over here. You can
Sure.
get them after.
Okay.
But again, I would ask you, the board, to look at page 3. There was some discussion on somebody driving by and seeing kids on the roof. I do know that the roof was put on earlier, but again, you can see kids on scaffolding here on page 3 in several venues, on the backs and in the sides. The scaffolding isn't attached to the structure, so the thing is wobbly. You can see the kids on the top level. To be honest with you, anybody going by on the road would sure think that they're on the roof because they're about as close as you're gonna get. No hard hats, no safety glasses, no protective outerwear. Again, concept, great idea. Execution, less than stellar. There's also another photograph in here of a student clearly without any eye protection. The numerous safety violations with electrical being done with no permitting. There was a permit to do a service outside, but nothing for interior lights. No banisters, shaky stairs. And then as you get into the last page, you know, you got to start questioning the structural integrity of the house, again, with footings being under a state of repair. And you can read it all. So,
All right.
another topic of concern, you know, is the grading behind Tim Hortons. I'm not a builder. I do know how to read. Mr. Morocco was president of the Planning Commission. He's the one who signed off on the site plan approval at the time, which provided for the grading plan. While the township currently has no ordinances in place for site prep, Mr. Morocco, if there was a problem with that, Mr. Morocco had 20 years chairing the PC and failed to take any action on this.
So, Mr.
town-
Kido, can you, if you don't mind, wrap it up, because you're taking more than 10 minutes, and I'm pretty sure
Okay,
other
you know what?
people want to talk.
That's
Okay,
fine.
That's fine, but, I mean,
Alls I'm saying is,
Let him go.
The-
okay,
the
okay.
do
hold
as
on,
I
it's okay,
say
it's okay, it's
and
okay.
not as I
Continue,
do.
please.
Let him continue.
is something that gives me pause. And again, Mr. Morocco has been a respected member of this community for years, but after hearing and seeing and living some of these things firsthand, I would just caution the board in terms of the advice that's provided. So I'm going to take a break right now. I'll let somebody else speak, because I've got one more topic to address, but obviously I'm out of time. Mr. McDonald, I think
Well, I
you wanted
guess-
to come up next.
We're okay, I mean, all right.
My name is Bob McDonald. I live at 4643 Oakhurst Ridge Road, and I'd like to give my 5 minutes to Mr. Kittle so he can finish his comments.
All right.
Open up your handout for the board. Again, for those of you in the audience, I have extra copies over here that you can pick up after the meeting.
Thought he was retired.
Again, the first part of my presentation was a walk down memory lane. This is looking into the future. You know, one thing I do want to congratulate Mr. Aliaga is you are the best political machine I've ever seen in my life. You shake more hands, you rattle bushes, you get out there, you find out what people are thinking. But as Robin Williams once said, politicians should wear sponsorship jackets, just like NASCAR drivers. That way we know who owns them. So at this time, from my understanding, after looking at campaign reports, Mr. Aliaga has over $67,000 in his campaign war chest, an unprecedented amount based on my 10 years of experience as a supervisor. But, you know, thought the board might be interested in knowing where some of these campaign funds are coming from. Started to take a look at the campaign finance information from Oakland County Campaign Finance site for Mr. Aliaga, and then bumping that against the State Regulatory Agency of Licensing, who manages cannabis. People who are approved, who are to grow, to sell, to whatever.
Mr. Supervisor, point of order. This
Okay.
is clearly a political attack.
Yeah,
This
it's
has
a
nothing to
political
do with
attack.
township business.
All right.
I
I
thought
mean, you
that the
can for
public
a- I
comment
just-
was for
I give you
items not
time
on
and
the
you just
agenda.
come for a
I
political
have nothing
attack.
to do with politics. I'm
It
not
is
running
politics.
for anything.
It is political because it's a election season. You just come in to attack, and that's all. I give you extra time for your, excuse me, I give you time for your concern, you address your concern, now you come in to just give a political attack. That's all you're doing because it's election season.
In-
I'd like a
in-
legal
Please,
opinion.
no,
of
legal
what-
opinion, there's no
You know,
legal
we have an
opinion.
attorney here.
I know we have an
We have
attorney,
a
I just give my,
member of the
I
public.
know.
You've always said
I
we
know,
should
I
let
know.
them
Can you
talk.
stop, let me finish, please? It's not a political attack, that's all it is. All right, I really your time. You just come to attack me, and that's all you're doing. You wait several years
In
to complain
close-
about a
in
report that was
closing,
done sometime. If
I
you
would
have a
like to bring to the
concern,
public's attention
you coming here
that close
just to make me look bad tonight, that's all you're doing. That-
Donated
yeah.
by committees
Right.
and PACs
All right,
that are tied to the cannabis industry.
all right.
Someday,
Right.
those donations to you are gonna have to be paid back. And what does that mean?
All right.
Are you gonna be allowing cannabis stores to start opening up in Independence? The old board voted it down.
Okay.
We made a resolution, we don't want grow houses, we don't want dope in the community. It's a stair-step drug, in my opinion. Our two most violent crimes in this community were medical marijuana related. These were crimes where medical patients came back, bound the people,
I
tied them up,
apologize.
pistol whipped them, poured them, doused them with gas, threatened to kill them
Okay, it's not,
if they
okay.
didn't get money. True fact. And why do they
Yeah, true
call
fact.
it dope?
Okay. Right.
Is because the police were able
All
to
right.
track them with the cell
right.
phones they stole.
All right, a political attack. All right.
Ladies
All
and
right, thank
gentlemen,
you.
please be careful.
Thank you
Look
for
at
your
what's
time.
available
Right.
and make your decision
right.
wisely.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for your time.
Sure, thank you. Anyone else would like to address to the board for 5 minutes? Okay. Hold on, it's Mr. Hayward is coming. Oh, I mean, okay,
Amanda.
yeah, all right. Okay. All right.
David Hayward, 6764 Berwick Drive. I just have a couple of questions, and I'm not really here to defend anybody in particular, but it's kind of interesting that Mr. Kittle wants to talk about where Jose gets his campaign funds from, when the person that he backed, Brian Malash, had to step down because, why did he have to step down? Because he owns licenses to grow marijuana.
Oh.
But that was his backing person. So if we want to be political about this, I really don't understand why Mr. Kittle is here bringing up this issue. Has he talked to the schools about this problem?
No,
No.
No.
Hasn't talked to the schools about the school program problem. It's here for a political purpose, which is to attack Mr. Morocco, Mr. Aliaga, and whoever else knew that he was going to talk about this was okay to let him have the time and to bring it up and everything else. And I find that kind of interesting. I also find it kind of interesting that he came up here in defense of Brian Ottman, but actually, back in March of 2022, when that report, around the time that report was written, Jerry Fisher was the supervisor. Why was Jerry supervisor? Because Pat Kittle quit. I understand he had medical problems and he had other problems, why he quit. But why he's leaving notes for future people, I don't know. When you quit, you don't run the township anymore. Whoever the people elect run the township. So when somebody elects somebody else, you may not like them, there's nothing you can do about it. We're not appointing more people. We have elections and they have a purpose. And then the other issue that he happened to bring up was the fact that Brian has done such a good job. Pat talked a lot about building plans and the building department and all the things that he knows. I don't understand why you would pull apart, moving forward, somebody out of the building department and then expect future trustees to know about building and be able to manage that person as a report, a direct report. Brian reports to Jose. What does Jose know about building things? Well, there's a reason that that position was in the building or department to begin with.
Mr. Supervisor.
So there's some oversight.
If I may.
So, and
Can't be talking
the
about
thing that,
employees,
yeah,
can
we,
He can.
he can,
We can.
okay. He can talk about,
Just ask them not to.
yeah. We can name employees, you know.
okay, that's not a problem.
All right.
So
Thank you, Jim.
we'll talk about it then, the Director of Planning and Zoning. Should not be under the supervisor, I don't believe, to begin with. But, and I find it interesting because when that person was the Director of Planning and Zoning, when this report came out of all the horrible things that was happening at the Bailey House, I happened to just tonight, and I have one for everybody, you can take a look. Is it all right if I hand these out?
Yeah,
I have one for
you
everybody.
can, yes.
Here you go. There you go. So I took this off. This is public information that's available online, and this is basically from BSNA Online, which we all know, or many of you do or do not, but it's got the information on the Bailey House. So I pulled it up to look at it on page 1. If you go down and you look at the enforcements, all the enforcements that were enacted against Sam and his Preservation Clarkston group. 1, working without a permit on 5/25/2021. And if you go to the next page, it says how it was resolved. There was no fine. There was a demolition permit issued a couple weeks later. That was the absolute only enforcement. Why? If the planning and zoning director is in charge of enforcement, and these heinous things that the Preservation Clarkston was doing, and really it's against Clarkston Community Schools because they're the one that's running the program, why wasn't anything done about it then? Jerry Fisher was the supervisor, wasn't Jose. Sam wasn't on the board. And then I go and look, and the very last page is what is going on there now. So they have an open, and it has currently they have an open permit right now to continue to do work that expires, I believe, in June of this year. So I don't know what the problem is, other than, I appreciate Pat bringing to light the fact that there hasn't been enforcement in this township, because this proves it. And unfortunately, I think this was all brought here because it is an election season. Some people don't like Jose, some people don't like Sam, but some people don't like all these people here. That's fine. We're not going to like everybody. But to use this platform and to waste taxpayers' time on something like this, why wasn't this brought before? We've known about it a long time. Why wait till now? That's all. Thank you.
Anyone else? Amanda, please state your name and address.
Okay. Amanda Love, 4175 Myers Road, Waterford, but it's Independence Township. I wasn't planning on speaking today, but coming in and hearing one of the crown jewels of Clarkston Community Schools, the construction tech program, being dragged through the mud was just very important to me. No safety concerns about students has ever been brought to the Board of Education or any of the administrators. So for it to be a part of this sort of political attack is completely out of line. I also know the director of the construction tech program who heads up the Bailey House for the students. He's very safety conscious. He crosses his T's, dots his I's. He's not willy-nilly having kids be unsafe. And these are unfounded accusations that, again, have never been brought through the proper channels, just been thrown in as a personal attack on one of the trustees in Independence Township. It's completely out of line and unprofessional, and I just had to speak something about it as a citizen and let all the parents know out there that your kids don't believe this attack. The kids, we've never had any safety concerns that I've heard from any parents, any students, anything about the Bailey House or the construction tech program. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and address.
Joette Kuntz, 9740 Reese Road, and I'm changing the topic. I want to invite all of you, in fact, everyone in this room. May 2nd, Thursday, is the National Day of Prayer in Clarkston. It's a National Day of Prayer across our country. And we are having a breakfast at Clarkston Community Church, which is on the bend of Clarkston Road, 6600, I think, Clarkston Road. It's $20 and 30 for two, 35 for two, $20 and 35 for two. We hope that you all could be there. It's 2 hours. It'll be done by 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 a.m.
What's the
It's
date? The date?
what?
The date?
May 2.
Thank you.
And we're having the sheriff from Genesee County speak, Chris Swanson. And I hear he's a great speaker, and he's done a lot of great things in Genesee County, and he's our neighbor. So, and you also will have Dave Bennett and Dane White play their clarinets. So the music will be there too. So it's breakfast and an hour of hearing your neighbors speak. So we hope that you all can be there. I'm going to go, now I'm going to change the subject a bit. I was here probably a month ago. If there are issues with the Bailey House, they need to go to the school board. That is who takes care of kids. Mr. Morocco does not own the Bailey House. Preservation Clarkston does. And my husband happens to be a director. He's not here tonight. But they need to go to the kids. We can't wait months. I've also told Mr. Kittle that. You need to go to the board, or you need to go to the school board if you have these big concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to come to the board? Sure. Please.
I'm Peg Roth, I'm Clarkson City Council. Thank you for the time, all of you. Also speaking about a sheriff, but this one is Sheriff Bouchard for Oakland County. Paul Brown and I have actually worked together to have Mr. Bouchard, our sheriff, come actually to this room and give us a presentation. A few of the topics that Paul and I have asked him to talk about are the illegals, problems with home invasion, the drugs, the cartels, all of the things. I just heard him speak a couple weeks ago, and for any of you who have not heard the information that he has about what's going on in our community, it's extremely important for you to know. A lot of it, we get a little bit out of the paper or whatever, but he obviously has a lot of information that should be of interest to everyone here. It's on May 16th, Thursday, again in this room. Doors open at 5:30. He starts his presentation at 6. Paul, I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to add, but we'd love to have everybody come. He's a great speaker and has a lot of information you should all really want to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to address to the board? Anyone? Anyone online would like to? We have somebody online? Ray? Ray Luan is online. Okay,
Hello.
Ray? Yes, we can hear
Yeah.
you now.
Thank you. My name is Ray Llewellyn, 9254 Pine Knob Road. I just want to say this first and foremost.
Can you raise the?
I am,
Okay. Can you be
Pardon?
close to the speaker because we barely can hear you? Okay. Okay, go ahead.
I first and foremost want to say this. I am absolutely, I couldn't emphasize that more, absolutely, totally disappointed in all the board members that just sat there and allowed Jose and Sam to be riddled by a former board member who left the board. He just abandoned us and left. But two, talking of a couple of points that Pat Kittle made, and that was about the, quote, marijuana that was supporting, or cannabis that was supporting Jose's campaign. Well, I'm here to say that I know firsthand that when Pat Kittle was in office and Brian Ottman was in the enforcement, that there was a grow house, and it was in well production, that Brian was told, do not bother those people and don't take it to the bank. So that's one. Secondly, in reference to the Bailey House, I personally have been there when the students were working, and I know that, again, the instructor for the students dots every I and crosses every T. But back to the rest of the board, first and foremost, all of you sat on your hands. Well, two of your, members, your fellow members were being absolutely ridiculed to no end. And secondly, I guess I can come to a board meeting and speak endless because there is, quote, no time limit anymore. because I seem to know how to look at a clock, and Pat Kittle sure went well beyond the time limit, and he, of all the people, should have known the time limits, because he one time sat in the seat that Jose's in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Anyone else online? Anyone else?
Somebody else has their hand up.
Okay. Yes, please. Arnie? Arnie, are you? Okay, thank you, Terry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Arnie?
Yes.
Okay,
Am I
go ahead.
on here now?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I wanted to say that I've been involved with preservation parks.
Arnie, are you?
Yeah,
Ray, can you, is your husband gonna speak?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Way better.
I wanted to say I've been involved with Preservation Clarkston for several years. I'm a retired engineer who was involved in heavy construction for 40 years. I've been to the Bailey House many times, and I think they've done a great job in maintaining safety, in paying attention to what the plans called for, and in teaching students how to learn trades, what trades are all about. I just wanted to go on record supporting Preservation Clarkston and Steve and Sam. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, before moving on, I just want to clarify something. Currently in our township was the 21 safest township in Michigan. Now we went to the 17 safest township. And we are being very proactive talking about this illegal thing or whatever. We don't have any, we have 0 case here on illegal activities or robbery or whatever. Types of illegal immigration or people coming in or home invasion. We don't have nothing like that in the township. Everything is good in our township. And we are working with the police department. We have a presentation. Last meeting, we're gonna get news cameras to make sure that if something like this happens in the future, we will take care of that because we're gonna be more proactive than reactive. So I just wanna let the public know. All right, anyone else? All right, moving on. We don't have a public hearing, we don't have presentations and report, we have a consent agenda. Consent agenda, request to approve the Board of Trustees regular closed session minutes on April 2nd, 2024. Second, request to approve the April 9, 2024 check run, including the ACH, $1,138,972.55, and amend the January 2024 EFT ACH wire activity amount previously reported on April 2 or April 2nd, 2024 as $3,818,986.50 to $189,331.35. 3. Request to approve the sound and extension hours variance in Waterford Hill Road Racing. 4. Request to approve the Brady Lodge rental and with alcohol Saturday, May 25, 2024. 5. Request to approve the Brady Lodge rental with alcohol Saturday, June 8, 2024. 6. Request to approve the Brady Lodge rental with alcohol September 28, 2024. 7. Request to approve specialized services operating assistance program third-party contract FY 2024. 8. Request to approve the 2024 budget amendment number 8A, Paul Unspent 2023, ARPA funds into 2024. Number 9, request to approve the 2024 budget amendment number 10, Paul Unspent 2023 funds into 2024 for the Civic Center and Residential Open Space Committee. 10, request to adopt 2024 West Nile virus resolution number 2024-006 mosquito-borne disease CTV reimbursement program. Okay, I need a motion to approve the.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on. We don't have no any removed for consent agenda, so regular business. I think Paul wanna discuss something. It was, Kerry, that's, the first one's costing
I think we put it at 12, didn't we?
12, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good, all right. Okay. Number one, Kerry, is the request to approve the application for a Class C water liquor license for tree investment.
Yes, I believe we have representatives here from Triad that would like to speak.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the Township Board. I am Kelly Allen. I am here on behalf of the applicant tonight as Triad Investments, and with me are my beautiful clients here. This is Jim O'Hearn, Joe O'Hearn, and Jacob Habermas, and they are the three members probably known to some of you who are going to be doing this new endeavor. We are here tonight asking for your approval for your quota Class C license. I do understand you have two remaining. You are authorized one Class C license for every 1,500 you have in population from the MLCC. You are authorized 24. You have 22 active, and I understand after tonight, you're going to have a full house. So congratulations. I, as a practitioner in this area, really do appreciate it when cities and townships use these economic development tools in the appropriate fashion, rather than holding on to them like some that I know for 20, 25 years and never give one. The last time I think you issued a quota was in 2019 for Chris Bellies, and that worked out pretty well. So just a little bit of background. I'm sure that you're familiar and watched the process that has gone on with this application. I have to say, on behalf of Triad and the guys, we want to thank the Planning Commission and the Planning Department and Mr. Carlisle. It was a rough go there. We had 3 public hearings, and they went back to the drawing board every single time and got it right. We had a first hearing on November 30th, and there were 20 people there that spoke on behalf. This room was packed. You could not move in here. The support for these gentlemen and their families for what they do. They own, as you know, Mel's 1 and 2, as well as Buckshots in the township. And so we heard all of the neighbors' concerns at that first meeting. We got sent back to the drawing board. We came back on February 8th, and we incorporated a bunch more changes that Mr. Carlisle had pointed out. And then our clients actually worked with Mr. Carlisle and Greg Need, my partner, worked with Mr. Carlisle to develop the development agreement that you also have before you tonight to button up the concerns that the neighbors had, the concerns that the Planning Commission had. And then finally, miraculously, on March 14th, they were approved for the special land use permit and the final site plan. So tonight, I just want to really briefly go over your criteria for your quota license. It's a beautiful ordinance. Thank you, Mr. Kelly, as well as the agreements that the clerk's office and your city or your township attorneys put together with regard to your licensing. And so I passed out some menus. I know it's always good to get a visual of what the food's going to look like. Those probably aren't final, but these guys are developing a great menu, a great concept. It's going to be called Fireside Kitchen on the first floor. It's sort of an upper scale, family-friendly restaurant, and then on the downstairs, they're calling that the North Side Pub. Thank you. I've only been doing this for 8 months. Northside Pub, and that's going to be like a little speakeasy type of thing with shareables and really cool craft cocktails. And when we talk about the township's criteria for granting a quota license, it talks about a need within the township, and if the community feels that there's a need, and it seems there is a need based upon the people that came out in support of this. There are plenty of great restaurants and licensees in the township. But these particular individuals are stellar business people and are bringing a concept that is new, fresh, and different than I think what you have. So we've provided everything to the township with regard to the company, the location, all the statements that you require. That we've talked about the other licenses that they have. There are 2 agreements that the township requires the applicant to sign. One has to do with this idea of a conditional license that we hope you approve tonight. My understanding is that the conditional will be issued until we have building permits pulled, and then you can remove that condition and do a permanent license and send that to Liquor Control. We are well on our way with the Liquor Control Commission, having filed with the Liquor Control Commission last year. However, Michigan Liquor Control won't do anything without the township's approval. So that sits until we get the conditional approval removed and we get a permanent approval going forward. The other agreement that they have signed has to do with keeping this license in the township, meaning that they could sell it to another tenant at that space. Of course, you'll get another crack at that in terms of an approval, or it can be moved only within the township. They are contracting not to remove this license from the township at any time, which is one of Mr. Kelly's tools. So we've addressed all of those criteria, but I think the most important criteria is why should you issue these guys, one of your last tools in your toolbox? And I think it's because of the uniqueness of the factor and the fact that these guys are township people. Jim has owned Buckshots for 20 years. Jake has been his general manager for over a decade. They've been at Mel's for, I don't know, Cindy, how many years? Too many. And they intend to continue what they've built here, obviously. And one of your criteria talks about, is there anything similarly situated that is close to the applicant? We are fairly close to Mr. B's and to Sportsman's Great Northern Grill. I would submit that this is a different kind of an attitude. Those are great places, but this is going to be a little bit different than that. So we are able to, of course, answer any questions that you have. If you don't mind, I would like to, and I can do, Mr. Supervisor, do you want me to do the development agreement now, or?
Then, are we okay with it?
It's a separate item.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so I'll wait. If I could ask Jim to come up and speak for 2 minutes?
Sure,
tops,
absolutely.
I'd appreciate that.
Thank you for your time. My name is James O'Hearn, and as Kelly said, I've owned Buckshots. I've owned it and operated since 2010. During that time, we have vigorously trained our staff. There's something called a TIP certification. All of our staff have it. We make them do it every year, that kind of a thing. We've had 0 infractions on our current liquor license, and we're very proud of that. And Joe has been in the restaurant industry, my brother, for 29 years. Jake has been helping me run Buckshots for the last decade, and we feel we take this responsibility very seriously. And we're not some chain that can come in here and every penny matters to us. So that's why we're applying for this quota license. We use our current businesses as platforms to try and give back to our community. We're all Clarkson alumni. Our kids still go to Clarkson schools. We've lived here our whole lives. So that's just a little bit of our background.
Okay. All right. Anyone would like to, any questions? Jim?
I just wanted to make a comment. I did have the opportunity to watch at least 3 meetings that I know you've presented at, watched all the public hearings, and I just want to commend the 3 of you on your professionalism, your patience, stick-to-itiveness. Your restaurants that you currently own, I think, have a great reputation. I know you're very charitable, very community-minded. So individually, I have a level of comfort and reassurance because these are highly coveted items, and they don't come along very often. But and again, it's important that we as board members maintain a firewall between what goes on in the planning commission and what happens here at the board level. So it's great we have YouTube and all those modern technologies. So from a citizen's perspective, I think you've done it in the right way, and I have every confidence that you're gonna be great neighbors, and it's gonna be a great addition. So certainly, I'm excited to support this tonight.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else?
Just a
Trustee
comment,
Ritchie?
based on being the planning commission liaison, that I know we made them go through multiple meetings and corrections to their site plan, but we did that to in reviewing their site plan. It had nothing to do with their restaurant. Everything that they presented for their restaurant, was fine. What we try to do is make sure the neighbors in the neighborhood were protected with sound barrier walls and proper traffic flow and those types of things, which, like I said, it was multiple meetings, but each time they went back and they amended their site plan to add the items that came up during the public comment and from the planning commission. So I appreciate that as well.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mhm.
Okay, Treasurer Brown?
So I grew up on Heath, so I'm right around the corner there, and actually was living there until last few years with my mom, who was still there, unfortunately passed in October, but I went to eat at your restaurant over there on a regular basis, usually on the weekends. I don't know what's on the menu except the Mexican omelet. This is all I ever ordered. And I just could never get away from it. Well, I guess I'm sort of stuck in my ways. Been to Buckshots before. You guys do a great job. And what we hear from people is really what tells. Because for most of us, we don't go into the restaurants that often. Well, depends, I guess. Some of us go in more often than others. But what we hear from the public is what really tells us what great business owners you are. And I think that's going to be great for the neighborhood over there. And I think a lot of the folks that live in that neighborhood are going to be walking over there in the evenings to have dinner. And I think it's a great plan.
Okay, all right.
I'll
Trustee
just
Morocco.
quickly say I have nothing but confidence that you guys are gonna do a good job.
That's true. Thank you.
Just short and sweet.
Yes, it's true. Okay, ready to make a motion? Go.
Have you thought whether you want to recuse yourself? I know you've had, I don't want anybody to question that in the future. I know you've had some fundraisers there, and if
Sure.
you want
Thank you, Paul.
to not
But
have the appearance of any.
no, I was told several times right then, and you can correct me then. If I not gain any beneficial compensation, nothing from them, I mean, I don't have to, right?
That's fair.
Right, right. I mean,
What I was thinking is in-kind contributions when they've hosted your event, and I don't want people to question that later.
thank you, Paul.
That's
What do
all.
you think is then?
Well, have you received in-kind contributions, i.e., the room for free?
And the meals and things like that.
Right, I got that before, yeah.
Then there may be a conflict.
Maybe a conflict. Okay, I can recuse myself, that's fine. Yeah, okay, no problem.
You have to make a
Okay.
motion to do
Should
that.
I make a motion to recuse myself or?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Carrie, you can take, it's fine. Amazing.
Well, you can still chair.
Okay,
You can just not vote.
all
You
right,
can still
sure.
chair. Go ahead.
Okay, okay, it's roll call, so.
Well,
I'll
we
make
need a motion.
I'm gonna
Okay,
make a
motion,
motion. All right. I'll move to approve the resolution granting local approval for the Class C liquor license to Triad Investments, Inc., DBA Fireside Kitchen for use at the building to be constructed on the southwest corner of Sashabaw Road and Pelton Road. Parcel ID number 0834326012, and authorize the township clerk to execute same and return to the Michigan Liquor Commission. Approval is conditioned upon the following. One, application shall lawfully commence construction of the building and facility within 6 months in compliance with all applicable township ordinances and state law. And two, final inspections must be completed and issuance of a final certificate of occupancy issued within 1 year of this approval. The township hereby reserves the right to rescind such approval if the facility does not pass the final inspections and receive final certificate of occupancy within 1 year of the conditional approval.
Support.
Okay, roll call.
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Treasurer Brown?
Yes?
Trustee Morocco?
Yes.
Trustee Alamothu?
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yes.
Trustee Tedder?
Yes.
The motion carried. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you, thank you. Okay,
Do we have to do Part B?
part B,
this
yeah.
This is,
Oh, hold on, part B.
this is the formality of it, and the execution.
Brian, is this the development?
Yes,
agreement?
this is.
Well, they have an agreement related to
yeah.
the liquor.
Okay,
license.
so they need to do that first? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve the agreement to govern the issuance and transfer of a Class C liquor license with Triad Investments Incorporated, DBA Fireside Kitchen, and authorize the township supervisor to execute the same.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Treasurer Brown?
Yes?
Trustee Morocco?
Yes.
Trustee Alamothu?
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yes.
Trustee Tedder?
Yes.
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Motion carried.
Okay,
Okay.
so, with the liquor license aside, this is the development agreement for Fireside Kitchen. This was, basically a request of the planning commission as their approval for the special land use. And the site plan, the amended site plan was to develop a development agreement between the two parties, Mel's Grill and, Fireside, and there's basically what's in the development agreement are the conditions of approval, essentially, that the planning commission put forth in terms of hours of operation, making sure that when Mel's closes, Fireside can open, so there's no overlap of parking issues, camera system in the parking lot, and some seating requirements, which will be reviewed by the building official when the time comes for permitting. So, the special land use, again, has already been approved by the planning commission. Your job tonight as a board is just to approve and execute a development agreement.
Okay. Any questions for board members? No? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I will, yeah. Okay, I make a motion to recuse myself for this
Second.
item. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Let me just see if there's any.
Okay,
comment from
any
the
input,
public.
any, sure. Ray, Ray Luan? You need to unmute yourself, right?
She may have left her hand up.
Oh,
but
yeah, or maybe,
accidentally.
oh, I don't know, maybe she's now because of
Just ITV has to remove
I
the
just
hand.
heard
Yeah.
it. I just heard it do a bell though, so I think she just raised her hand.
I think he's fixing it.
Yeah. Okay, Ray?
She's still muted.
Yeah. John, can you mute?
There you go.
Okay. Ray?
She's
took her
taken her
hand
hand
Oh,
down. She's
okay.
decided not.
All right.
Is there anybody in the public?
Anyone on public? Anyone in the public would like to? No? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the Triad Investments Development Agreement and authorize the township supervisor to execute the same.
Support.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay. Carrie. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Next on the agenda is request to approve first reading of the ordinance amendment for ordinance code section 34 through 38. This is, I guess, an evening about drinking and alcohol, because we have another item up on that. As we heard from council from Triad, the township does have two liquor licenses available, well, now down to one, possibly, in our quota. The township, even under past board members, I think, had sort of put into place, we had moved in 20 to allow alcohol to be at Brady, but because Brady Lodge is within a park, in order for us to move to take a license, or to apply for a license to sell alcohol at Brady, we have to make an amendment to our township ordinance. So as it stands right now, the alcohol is prohibited from being consumed in the park unless we approve an exemption for specific event spaces, I'm sorry. So before us tonight is a first reading to amend the ordinance to include that. To allow for alcohol in the park, and then if that is approved tonight, then I think as a second, the second item on the agenda then would be to move forward to have the Kelly firm apply for the license for the township. This
Okay.
is something that we may not be ready right now. We do offer alcohol now, but that is brought in, that's brought in by the individuals that apply. As you saw through our consent items, we have several rentals where they bring in the alcohol, but this would be something that the township would move forward for. So it's not something that we have to do right now. I mean, with selling it, this could be, I think is another tool in our toolbox. We've done some great improvements over the years with Brady Lodge, and I think it's going to be it is, and it even will more grow, I think, to be a great venue for different establishments and events to have in our township. And my opinion, I think this would be a great next step to move towards.
Okay.
She's got a question. Let's go first.
Yes.
I'd
Terry?
just like a little more clarification for the public, because we talked about this, but just so they're aware. I believe we're looking to just sell it at Brady Lodge, and outside the lodge, there would be signage to be like no alcohol beyond this point. It's not like this would open it up to, you know, have food trucks or people show up with an alcohol or smoothies or anything that could be alcohol in them that people could take to the beach over there or anything like that. So just so people know, this will be in the confined space of Brady Lodge for sale there.
Jim?
And also, for my own clarification, but also for the benefit of the public, I believe that allocating this license to the Brady Lodge creates a convenience for those renting the lodge. Is that not correct? Where they would fall under that license rather than having to procure their own temporary license?
That's correct.
You can come to the podium. But hold on, are everyone finished here? All right. Okay, please. Go ahead.
I got a question when
Okay.
she's done.
All right.
Peg Roth, Clarkson City Council. I was just wondering, so when you're talking about this, this is a one-day license for someone holding an event would come to you and request the fair? No?
No, won't be one day.
I
though.
misunderstand then.
We currently
I know
do
Brady
that.
Lodge,
Yeah,
Brady
currently we
Lodge,
do that.
when people are hosting events there, no alcohol?
Yes, there is
Correct.
alcohol allowed now. They
Okay,
bring that in.
so
They
they,
would have it catered in. The township then would supply that. We would hold the license for that. I mean, they could still bring, am I correct, Dan? They could still have it catered in, or they could, once we move to that, they could purchase it from us.
so they would need to come to your board to get permission for that,
Yes.
rather than going to the liquor commission, which I've done for different events?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Maybe I can put a little beef on it.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right, Dan Kelly, Township Attorney. So what we're allowing here with regard to the ordinance amendment only, and we have the next agenda item, this ordinance allows the township to approve in advance designated areas within our parks. That's all it does for the sale of alcohol. We anticipate that the township board may have a liquor license for Brady Lodge that would be your liquor license. So it would not be a one-day license. It would actually be a liquor license, just like the Triad had been awarded, where we could sell alcohol at Brady Lodge for any of our functions as long as the board has approved it under this ordinance amendment. Does that help a little better?
I have a question for Dan.
Sure.
So, I just want to make sure that I got the blanketing part. So when it says any event space, so are we, by changing the ordinance now, are we now allowed to allow an event to have a beer tent in one of our parks separate from the Brady Lodge? Isn't this township-wide now with approval from the board?
Yes.
By doing this?
Yes, it would
Okay.
still be approved by the board, it would come to the board. How I anticipate this happening, since most of our functions will be at Brady Lodge, the board will approve Brady Lodge for functions. Any other park or any other special event in a designated area would be singularly approved by the board. That's how I anticipate it would happen. It'd obviously be up to the board, but this ordinance does allow you to do that.
Now we can do that with this
Yes,
change.
yes.
Open it up to township-wide with approval of the board for
Yes.
a designated area. Okay,
Yes.
that's what I wanted to make sure we were getting that in there too. you
Right.
know.
Claire Newbeck?
I just think for clarification too, that this is just the beginning stages. We would then come back to the board once we've applied and been granted the liquor license, policies, procedures, and all of that, like we have done for the coordination of alcohol and with Brady right now. I mean, I think there
Yes.
would be,
So your liquor license is actually designated to a specific location. So you may not be able to use the liquor license for any place other than Brady Lodge. We'll have to see on that. I should defer to the the expert, Kelly Allen, on liquor licenses. But the point is that we would be allowed to use this ordinance to allow the sale of alcohol on other parks, which we don't allow currently.
But I think it would still be through application that would come before the
Yes,
board, is
absolutely,
what I'm
be up to
saying.
the board, right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
This is more under our zoning, if you will, or police powers, as opposed to the liquor license, which is controlled by the state. Claire?
Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay, any motion?
Move to approve the first reading of the amendment to the Independence Township Ordinance Code, Section 34 through 38, alcoholic liquors prohibited, and direct the township clerk to publish said ordinance in accordance with state law, and hereby set the second reading of said ordinance for the next available regular Board of Trustees meeting.
Support.
Okay. Roll call?
Trustee Morocco?
Yes.
Trustee Alamothu?
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yes.
Trustee Tedder?
Yes.
Supervisor Aliaga?
Yes.
Clerk Newbeck, yes, and Treasurer Brown.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay.
So the next item to follow that then is to approve the resolution to apply for the liquor license. This would be the Class C quota license to be awarded for use at Brady Lodge.
Okay. All right, we need a motion.
I'll move to adopt resolution number 2024-008, approving the township's application for a Class C quota liquor license at Brady Lodge, and authorize the township to submit any and all necessary information to the Michigan Liquor License Commission to secure the same.
Need a second?
Support with comment.
Okay, all right. Kurt?
Kurt Carson, 5,000 Paula Avenue in Independence Township. And first off, I'd like to thank all the board members for your service to this community, especially walking in this. When I walked in, I was certainly surprised. I'm missing all that fun of those nice personal attacks. But anyway, I'd like to just ask if we can get a clarification. If the township has a liquor license for the Brady Lodge, will organizations like the Optimists and so on, nonprofits, be able to have functions there and do their own alcohol? Because, you know, we make a small profit on that sort of thing.
We'll probably have Dan come up and sort of understand that legally.
You have to give it away.
Probably.
Can't sell it.
So the short answer is yes. What he's referring to is a one-day liquor license that is usually for nonprofits. But that'd be up to the township whether or not you would require them to use your liquor license, because they could use your liquor license. Basically, what a liquor license allows the holder to do is to make a profit off of the sale of alcohol. You cannot make a profit off of the sale of alcohol without a liquor license. So it'd be a question of who's going to make the profit, the township or the nonprofit.
They can't sell it though.
Yeah.
Well, under our license, they could sell it, but not on a day license.
Yeah, under the day license, they would be responsible for selling it. Under our license, we would probably hire, like on a regular basis, licensed, certified bartenders, if you will, and they would sell the alcohol, and we would keep the profit of that alcohol, as opposed to a nonprofit's liquor license. They would be responsible for getting that bartender certified, and they would keep the profit.
Are we required to keep the profit?
No,
Because
you could
we
waive
we
the
have
profit.
several, of course, we have to watch what we get into, because there could be all kinds of nonprofits that want to come.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are certain nonprofits around town that we're very supportive of, so we'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, there are some restrictions on how you, like, donate to nonprofits.
Yeah,
In fact,
that's
you're not,
what-
so you'd
yeah,
have to watch
so-
that as well.
Figure it out.
Right, right. Sometimes what happens is, you roll it into the lease price, right?
You can't do it
So you
with
can do
liquor.
it that way.
Yeah. All right, you have another question? Okay.
Well, there would be the liability issue too. So whoever holds the license and is providing the alcohol has a liability, right?
That's right.
So,
you know.
Okay. So, well, if you want me to follow up on that one, that's a good point. So that's a dram shop action, and you're required to be insured for purposes if you overserve. So if it's the nonprofit hiring the bartenders and they're certified, then they're responsible for the overserving and the potential liability that comes from that. If it's our license, we're required to be insured and we take the responsibility for our bartenders. So there is a difference with regard to liability.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Any more questions from the public? No? Anyone online? All right, motion has made and second. It's a roll call, Madam Clerks.
Trustee Alamothu?
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yes.
Trustee Tedder?
Yes.
Supervisor Aliaga?
Yes.
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Treasurer Brown?
Yes.
And Trustee Morocco?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Chief Pichet, please.
Good evening. Greg Grant, Fire Marshal.
I'm like, you've changed.
So here tonight to request the approval of the first reading for the new mobile food truck ordinance that we're proposing. And along with that is the approval for the fee structure that would be involved in that. So give you kind of a brief summary of it. We would like to require food trucks to obtain a permit to operate in Independence Township. We would facilitate that, the fire department. Upon getting the application, we would do a review, and then we would schedule them a fire inspection. And then upon completion of that, if we find them to be compliant with everything, then they would get their permit to operate. Now, some of the stuff that we'd be checking for would be any DOT licenses, any certificates that they need, also any health code inspections that would be required, and then of course the fire inspection. And the fire inspection includes a list that is provided by the fire codes, and we just go through the truck and check our boxes and make sure that everything was compliant with that. And then a couple other things with the ordinance is just rules on operating hours. I think it's 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I think is what it says in there. And then just rules against loud noises, flashing lights, anything like that that would distract drivers that would be potentially in the area. The requirements to get permission from the property owners. And that's, I mean, that's pretty much it. As far as the fee structure goes, we're requesting $100 for the initial application and the inspection. And then a $75 re-inspection fee if that's required. And if we did put a thing in here that we would request the application to be within 5 days of them coming in, or if they're participating in an event. Anything inside of 5 days, it would be requesting a $200 fee, just because we have to kind of scramble to get it move forward. Is there any questions with this?
Yes, Trustee Morocco?
With the expiration date always being the same, what's the driver behind that opposed to them having 12 months for their application? And
Okay,
does that
so-
pose any problem having them all renew at the exact same time opposed to, annually?
Yeah, the length of the permit would be from January 1st to December 31st of the calendar year. The reason we're asking that is because in the past, we would have events that would come up in the township, and we wouldn't know about the food trucks coming in until we wouldn't be able to inspect them until the day of the event. This gives us an opportunity to kind of get ahead of that and inspect them and then make sure that they're okay to operate. Because if we come into the event, an hour or two before the event starts, and we find something that needs to be addressed, something that's they're not compliant with, then that kind of puts us in a bad spot, because now they're here to serve food, and now we're telling them they can't.
Right,
So we want to get ahead of that.
So I guess my only comment would be is that if they're doing an event in June, they still might not come till June, the day before to have it tested. I just wonder if the value of the permit not lasting 12 months, if they do the food truck comes to the Christmas festival at Depot Park or whatever, and they have to pull a permit, or in one of our parks, the permit's only good for a month, till the end of December 31st. That's the only reason that, because they all expire on December 31st, no matter when you pulled them. So if that's not relevant, it isn't for, it's only 12 months. If they came in January 1st and pulled it, they get 12 months for the permit.
That's correct. And that's consistent with
Okay, I
most
mean,
communities.
I'm just,
Yep.
the only other question I would have is, how soon are you gonna activate this? And I know there's already food truck rallies for nonprofits already scheduled all through the year, and they have commitments from trucks who none of them are licensed through us, because we don't have a licensing process right now. So just how soon are we gonna implement it and give all the nonprofits time to notify other people, see if they're still able to participate,
So this is the first reading, and then next month will be the second reading, and then when it gets approved, then I'll start advertising or getting the word out. I'm not anticipating 2024 to be any different than any other year. I'm still going to conduct the inspections, probably going to be on the day of the events. If I can get there earlier, if they can get to me earlier, that's great. But I would think 2024 would be more of an educational year, and then 25, hopefully it'll start catching on, and with us advertising it in the social media or in the papers. And but yeah.
Right. I just want
Does
to
that
make
answer
sure.
your question?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we give the local nonprofits, enough time to know it's coming, that we're promoting. Maybe we can do it in the Clarkston Times or whatever that, you guys use, but just to let them know, just so it doesn't screw up somebody's nonprofit. We would
Yeah,
hate
I'm
for
not,
that to happen, and I know that's not what your intent is,
Yeah.
just to make sure they have, that doesn't happen, because that could really spoil somebody's event.
Yeah, with this being so new and I know the season's coming, I'm not, my intention is not to shut anybody down or anything like that. My intention would be to educate them while they come in for the first year.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Treasurer Brown?
I assume that part of our permitting will require that they've got the necessary permits from the Oakland County Health Department?
That's correct. That's the one major thing I want to look at, is I want to make sure that they have their health inspection and any other inspection licenses that they are required to have.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Oh, Trustee.
Hello. Question, what's the status quo? Like, I'll use Independence Fest as an example, all-day event. There's food trucks selling French fries and elephant ears, and is there any current process where we have the prerogative to check health certificates and such? Or what, is there any process at the present?
Currently, no. This would be the first. I mean, when I do my inspections, I check for all that stuff, but this gives us an opportunity, like I said earlier, to get ahead of it and make sure that everything is compliant with everything they need. Does that answer your question?
So you're saying on the day of, you're saying, like, again, going back to Independence Fest, you will check each individual facility or at each individual mobile operation separately to make sure they have their health inspections, et cetera?
That's currently how it works right now. The days of the events is when I would go out and do the inspections. This would give us an opportunity, because I want to try to do this, this would give us an opportunity for the food trucks to be scheduled in advance of the event, and that would give us an opportunity to get there before the event and make sure that they have everything they need.
So they wouldn't be checked again on the day of, because I mean,
Once they get
hypothetically-
their inspection, then no, but generally with these events that are hosted by the township and stuff, I usually have a presence there too, so.
Okay, yeah, because it seemed that it would be, I mean, looking through a health and safety perspective, the day of seems to be the best day, because they've got their operations going, everything should be immaculate and within the standards of health and safety. So
Yeah.
I understand there's a revenue opportunity here, but it seems more practical, again, just trying to think this through, that we do the inspection the day of, because that's when they're performing their business. rather than they get an inspection and then their trailer sits for 6 months, and then there's no oversight on the day of, and that thing could have rats and cobwebs and feces and who knows what in that trailer. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I hope not.
So the health inspection is once a year. So,
Okay.
that, just to kind of give you an idea. But, I mean, aside from the events that are already scheduled, we have independent food trucks that come into our township, and we don't get to those because we don't know about them. So if they know about this ordinance, then they would have to apply for an application, which then would cause an inspection, and we would be inspecting food trucks that we have potentially not been able to inspect in the past.
Okay.
Okay.
And I just have the $75 reinspect. When does that come into play?
So the inspection would go through, and if I found something that they were non-compliant with, then they have an opportunity to get that fixed, and then they would have to prove that they had it fixed. So then I would come in and do a re-inspection, similar to what the building department does when they have a re-inspection. They have a re-inspection fee. And that would, it would make sure that the stuff was completed like they said they were supposed to do it. Otherwise, they're not going to get their permit.
Right, got it. Okay, that's what the reinspect, okay.
Right.
And the hours, so if an event goes beyond 10 o'clock, they would be obliged to shut down per this ordinance? Like, there's not many of them, but again, Independence Fest being one of those events where people are there for the fireworks and they might be there till 11 or something like that.
Yeah, there might be some provisions that could be accommodated for
Yeah.
that, for events and stuff like that. But as far as like the independent food trucks that are operating in the township, they would have to be shut down at 10 o'clock.
Okay, got it. And one last question. Where do the proceeds go? Would this go back into the general fund? This would be a special fund allocated for the fire department? Where do the $100 inspection fee go?
It would go back to the fire department.
Okay, in a special fund or just like a discretionary fund for the fire department?
It would be under revenue, inspection revenue.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Just
Sam?
quickly, would the ideal thing, would it be ideal to have them, are you picturing the food truck coming to your station for an inspection pre-event so that they're good for the year?
That's correct. I would schedule an appointment. They either come to the fire station, I can meet them inside the township somewhere, work those details out with the owners. But yeah, that's ideal. So if they wanted to work like the summer months, hopefully they would schedule an inspection sometime in the early spring. I would get the inspection, and then they were free to operate under that permit for the rest of the year.
Okay.
And just so you know, if I do see these trucks and I do come across them, if I see something that's grossly unsafe, I would have the discretion and the authority to shut them down and pull their permit too as well.
Right. This is basically put more protections for the public, for residents.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
that we didn't have it before. So.
Yeah, our goal here is to make it safer
Right.
for the public.
Right.
Got it.
That's what the goal is. Okay, I need a motion.
You want to ask?
What?
Any
Oh, I mean,
comments?
all right. Any comments for putting more protection for the residents? Any comments? No? Anyone online would like to? All right,
Okay.
all right.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of the Independence Township Mobile Food Establishment Ordinance and direct the township clerk to publish said ordinance in accordance with state law, and hereby set the second reading of said ordinance for the next available Board of Trustees regular meeting.
Okay.
Support.
Support, okay. It's roll call?
Trustee Ritchie,
Yes.
Trustee Tedder,
Yes.
Supervisor Aliaga,
Yes.
Clerk Newbeck, yes, Treasurer Brown,
Yes?
Trustee Morocco,
Yes.
and Trustee Alamothu. Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Part B here.
And then we have Part B, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution number 2024-009 to approve fee schedule pursuant to the Independence Township Mobile Food Establishment Ordinance, contingent upon the Independence Township Mobile Food Establishment Ordinance being approved at second reading and authorize the township clerk to certify and file same.
Support.
Roll call?
Trustee Tedder,
Yes.
Supervisor Aliaga.
Yes.
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Morocco.
Yes.
Trustee Alamothu.
Yes.
And Trustee Ritchie.
Yes.
That motion carried.
Good.
Thank you.
You changed.
Pardon?
I looked up and it wasn't him.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here tonight to, if you remember about a year ago-ish, we joined the Oakway Mutual Aid Association, which is comprised of 10 other communities, basically south of us, to have a larger mutual aid contingency to provide more resources to the township when we need it. So they have an interlocal agreement because it's essentially a separate governing body, the Oakway Mutual Aid Association, and every 5 years it has to be renewed. So I'm here tonight to ask for your approval to, again, sign off and be a part of the interlocal agreement, to be a part of the Oakway Mutual Aid Association moving forward for the next 5 years.
Okay, any questions? Terry? No? Anyone from the public? Anyone online? Okay, need a motion?
I move to adopt resolution 2024-010 as presented to renew Independence Charter Township as a participating political subdivision in the Oakway Mutual Aid Association and Mutual Aid Box Alarm System Division 3202 interlocal agreement, and to authorize the township clerk to execute and file the same.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, okay,
Supervisor
Thank you.
Aliaga.
Make sure you-
it's roll call, it's roll
This is
call.
roll call.
Right, I didn't see that. Yes?
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Treasurer Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Morocco.
Yes.
Trustee Alamothu.
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie.
Yes.
And Trustee Tedder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay,
All right,
thank
thank
you,
you.
Chief.
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry. On the alarm part,
Mhm.
how does this work in relation to like the new alarms you were getting for the separate, remember last time you came and you were updating the alarm system for the actual fire stations?
Yep.
So, is this one in the community just go all over to all of them? The mutual aid box alarm system?
So you're talking when I was here last meeting about getting an
Yes,
alerting
yes.
system? So the alerting system is just for Independence Fire Department's fire stations. That's alert us to know when a run's coming in.
Yes.
What you're probably seeing on here, the box alarm, what that is between all the 11 fire departments, we pre-set up cards that dispatch has. And let's say Independence Township, we get a structure fire at Pine Knob, let's say. The dispatcher pulls out that card and it automatically tells them what communities to call when. So that's the box alarm system that's built between us fire departments to help each other for resources. So it's just, when somebody's on scene, they know that all these different departments will be coming in at certain times. 1 alarm, 2 alarm, 3 alarm, 4 alarm fires, you probably heard that over time. That's what that is. So it's totally separate from what I was here last meeting for.
I knew it was probably separate, I was just trying to get clarification how this one worked with that
Yep.
group compared to that. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Okay, next, Adam, please, our Director on Parks and Recreation, Adam Klein.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm just here to request that you appoint four members to the Parks, Recreation, and Seniors Advisory Committee. Camilla Duarte, Gregory Gagne, Robert Haar, and Linda Zabarcha. They have their, in your packet should be their applications. They should be the correct applications. All of these four have been to the Parks and Recreation Seniors Advisory Committee. They took a look at them first, and they recommend that I bring them to you for permanent appointment.
Yes, and I'm actually part of the community, and the residents are very participating, really involved, and they're making good suggestions. They're actually working a lot. They're taking extra time, you know. Since we purchased nearly 39 new acres next to Clintonwood Park, they are very involved. They put sub-committees together to see what we're gonna do there. So yeah, so I highly recommend to be appointing those 4 residents for the Parks and Rec Committee. Any questions? Ron?
Yeah, I'm glad to see there's good participation. It says in the header here that it's a minimum of 5 members and no more than 15. With these 4 people, what, how many people does that put on the committee now?
That would put us up to 14 because we recently had a resignation.
Okay, so you're getting pretty full then?
Yes.
Close to maximum, all right.
Good question, Ron.
That's
Anyone
great.
else?
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, we increasing participation from our residents, more engagement, and it's good, positive, yeah. You want to make a motion?
If I felt comfortable pronouncing their names, I would.
Okay, I will do, okay,
But they're all,
okay,
but
sure.
I don't.
Okay, move to appoint Camila Duarte, Gregory Gia, Robert Haar, and Linda Sarver-Shaw to the Parks and Recreation and Senior Advisory Committee for 3-year term, scheduled to expire on December 31st, 2026. I need a second.
Support.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Here is my vacancies, and that I recommend also some appointments here for, we have for CIA, for CIDL with the library, and we have also for ROSAC and CBA, and well, here is my recommendations, and I would like your support. And we can start making a appointment. I mean, I can make a motion right now. I move to appoint Elmer Stroud to fill the vacancy on the South Chabaco Road Improvement Authority with a 2-year term ending on December 31st, 2025.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, move to appoint Tim Holcomb to fill the vacancy on the Clarkston Independence District Library Board with a term ending on December 31st, 2025.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, okay, move to appoint Tasha, Sheringin to the Residential Open Space Advisory Committee with a 2-year term ending on December 31st, 2025.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Move to appoint Kurt Carson to fill the alternative vacancy on the zoning Board of Appeals with a 2-year term ending on December 31st, 2025. All those in favor?
Support.
I don't
Support.
have a
Aye.
second.
Oh,
Support.
okay, support. Oh, sorry. I went too fast. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Yes.
Just want to make a comment for those people that are here tonight that have been reappointed or appointed. Please make a point to stop by our office so we can swear you in. We're not here on Fridays.
Okay, congratulations.
And
I
yes,
know
congratulations.
some of you guys are here, Kurt and Tasha, congratulations. Thank you for being part of the township and helping out. All right, next. Dave McKee, or Director of DPW.
Good evening, everyone. My first item on the agenda tonight is some safety path maintenance. So just to give you a little background, we've been evaluating our safety path system for quite some time. And not only do we install some nice new stuff, but we also have to make some repairs as well. The first item that I have is going to be in the category of some new things, okay? This is a new project that the Safety Path Committee has scored high on their priority matrix, and really it's just filling in a gap. So I apologize, I don't have that up on the screen here for you, but it is in your board packet. It's approximately 1,100-foot section on Clarkston Road, south side of Clarkston Road, west of Sashabaw. There's 1,100-foot piece right there. There's a big gap right there. This project's been discussed with the Safety Path Committee. They approved this project to move forward. So I'm here tonight to get board approval to get the design services approved and have Norton Frost go ahead and start the first step and get the design of this project going. This project is a very worthy project. It's pretty cost effective, we think it's going to be, and it actually will create a safe walkway on both sides of Clarkson Road from Clintonville Road, or I'm sorry, Clintonwood Park, east all the way to Sashaball, and it also allowed people to come from Wingate to get in there and then support the businesses. They don't have to walk in the road where Jalapenos is at, 7-Eleven and all that. So, due to the cost amount and procurement policy, I'm here in front of you tonight to get approval to get the design services going through with Noack and Frost for this project.
Okay, any question? Okay, Terry?
I just have a quick question on these, because I think there's a couple lots there for sale. That when these go in, are they all of a sudden torn up again, or the people who might build something there afterwards have to replace what they ruin?
No, so we strive and we're very successful in making sure that all safety paths are put in the road right of way.
Okay.
So, you know, we get a permit, the permit will be need to get from the Oakland County Road, or for the Road Commission for Oakland County. There are occasions when we do have to get easements, and we will acquire all those prior to anything getting started.
No, I'm talking about them getting ruined.
Oh, well, if they ruin, yeah, if somebody tears them up, we make them
It's
replace
on their
it.
responsibility to fix
Yeah.
it, that's all.
Yeah,
It just
I'm sorry.
bothers me
I
when there's-
apologize.
No, it just bothers me when there's something so nice and new, and then all of a sudden it's torn up or
Yeah, we definitely
ruined
do that.
quickly. Okay.
Because there is a, you know, there is a couple, I think there's a new home being built there, but everything's gonna be in the road right away, but we keep an eye on that.
Okay.
For sure.
Anyone else?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'll move to accept the proposal received from Noack and Frost of Pontiac, Michigan for professional services associated with pathway design services on Clarkston Road, Wingate to Sashaba, as outlined in the agreement.
okay.
Second page has some more.
Yeah, it goes on the
Yeah.
next page.
Oh, there's more to read?
Yeah.
Okay. In an amount not to exceed $39,262 and authorize the supervisor to sign the proposal as the authorized representative of the township.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
Thank you.
carried. Thank you. Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I was late to the game. Fine.
Oh, am I good?
Yes.
My next item is the repair side of safety paths. As we invest lots of money into our safety path system, we need to take care of what's already been built. So this is to get approval from the board for the repair of a safety path bridge that is on Dixie Highway. The approximate location where this is right across the street from the old Clarkston Theater. There is a wooden bridge right there that kind of goes across this culvert that connects Dollar Lake with Greens Lake that goes back in there. This bridge was originally built, part of the original safety path installation in the mid-90s. Our safety path superintendent has done a yeoman's job in keeping this bad boy together. Its time has come. Proximity to the road, snow, salt, you name it, over the years, heat, sunshine, it's tearing it up, and it's just not, it's not cost effective to keep it anymore. It scored very high, it's on the replacement list with our evaluation that we recently did with all boardwalks and bridges. So we commissioned Noack and Frost to come up with a design for this. We have our permits from MDOT. The new design is going to be a flat. We're going to utilize the existing culvert that's there instead of having a wooden bridge going across. I don't know why they didn't do this in the mid-90s. That culvert hasn't been changed. But MDOT has blessed it. They approved it. They approved the design, and we're going to get her fixed up, and it'll last a lot longer than this one right here.
If anybody's ever walked on that side of the street, it's, I don't know how it could be ADA.
It's
compliant,
not.
but
It's not ADA.
It's like a big hump.
Yeah.
So if you're riding your bike, it's like a big, the young kids, I'm sure, like it, but.
But they built it well. Just a fun fact that there was somebody was driving a Jeep one time and went off Dixie Highway and went across the bridge, so, in a Jeep.
Do not try this at home.
Do not try this at home.
Okay,
But it'll be much nicer and last a whole lot longer.
okay. Somebody would like to make a motion?
I'll move to accept a proposal for professional services associated with the construction of the Dixie Highway pedestrian crossing improvements as submitted by Italia Construction of Washington Township, Michigan, in the amount not to exceed $61,719.05, and accept a proposal from Noack and Frost of Pontiac, Michigan, for construction engineering services for this project for a not to exceed amount of $20,265.79, and authorize the supervisor to sign the proposals as the authorized representative of the township.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion
Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, here is basically, I was an error, as the same, actually, last time he actually catched this as an error here in the agreement, in one of the vendors for, prosecution. So what I wanna do with this is just correct the typo, that's all it is. So I would like to have a motion for this.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the date in the last paragraph of the Carlstrom Cooney legal prosecution contract to read effective January 1st, 2023.
Okay,
Support.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. All right, motion carry. All right, 12, we have, Paul, you want to add something there?
Yeah, so, I wanted to have a discussion about the Township Times. Certainly, this is a great tool to communicate with the residents, information, and it's been in place for a number of years. And as I think back to 2016 election, as we went into that, at the recommendation of Supervisor Kittle and supported by myself and Clerk Barb Pilata, we decided that we would not, as elected officials, write the articles that got put out for our part in July. And for me, I look at it that it really kind of gives us an unfair advantage because we got the ability to put this out and the people who are running against us don't. And the people running against us, if they are, they help pay for it. And I think the appearance of that, we have to be super careful with. Because I think it's a little unfair if it's anything different than what we would normally put out. And I heard from a number of people who were concerned because this isn't an inexpensive item. You know, it's almost $1,000 a page to put this out. And to me, I had people who were upset that if it's just putting photographs, it's not really the kind of communication they want. And that's what they communicated to me. And I think to resolve that, we simply have a motion that requires the Township Times articles to get approved by the Township Board. And I think that would make the residents feel better, and they can be certain we're not doing anything that's political in them. And I think that's fair to those folks who want to run, because we shouldn't have an advantage because of it. So.
I see. A couple of things. I think you got a good point about that, using taxpayer money and all that, but I have to be acting across the board, not just the article. That wasn't implemented, by the way, by my office. It was implemented by former supervisor. They actually come today. He reminded me that he actually implemented that to communicate information, and which is fine. I don't recall they take it out before on 2016. I don't, quite frankly. But I like the idea, though. I think it's fair for the election season. But also, I would like to have it across the board. I saw that you, Paul, the Treasury Department, spend taxpayer money putting your picture there with your name and all that in front of it, your office. So for people that come in, I think that have to be suspended too. If we want to do all that, they have to go across the board. So that way, we're not using taxpayer money to promote your names. They have to be just across the board during the election season. I think
Should
that
we
will
remove all our pictures from the township website as well?
No, I'm talking about the one that you put in the one that you print right there and put it in front when the public come to pay their taxes, they see that. Rachel Acker from the treasurer have the same information without having her picture and name there. They just got the information for the public without having her name, title, and picture there. When you came in, you put your name there and your picture and everything. If your point is you don't want people to promote using taxpayer money, you have to go across the board, not just in the article. Are you fine with that? I'm fine with that. Are you saying that it has to be across the board with that?
Well, so what I tried to communicate was that we shouldn't do things that are different than we've done historically.
Yeah.
And so I believe all three of us as full-time elected officials have written articles, and there's a small picture of us on that article. I'm not suggesting that shouldn't be there if it's the kind of communication that we want to have. What I'm communicating is that residents have reached out to me and are unhappy that, this last Township Times has pictures that they perceived really were political because there's no, let me finish, please. This is, again, the public's telling me this. So that just having a couple of pictures and we're paying $500 for a half page, I don't think the public likes that. So, yeah, the picture that is there with the articles we write and what we communicate, I think we've done that for a long time. We continue to do that. I don't think we should write them in July. In 16, we had department heads write all the stuff for the July Township Times, and the 3 full-time electeds didn't put anything in that month. And so that's what I'm suggesting.
I suggesting that should be removed forever. That was something that Kido introduced that. When I come in, I was surprised I have to put an article all the time. And then, I think it's extra expensive for township, for the township payers, taxpayers to get all that. I think it should be removed and don't have it actually. But okay.
I don't see why it can't just say from the supervisor's office, from the clerk's office. I don't need to see your guys' picture in there from now till November unless I'm getting some print.
I'm fine.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, it's not necessary. It can just say from the supervisor, from the trust, from whoever, the position. I think you should sign your name at the bottom because it's your letter, but just, the picture just isn't necessary to get information out to the public. In my opinion, that would solve all of the free photo ops and recognition, and it's the title, and then signed by you as you authorizing that information to be presented would be my suggestion.
Right.
I concur with Trustee Morocco. The information is helpful. I think I give kudos to Supervisor Kittle and the board at that time for creating the Township Times. I think it's in the township's words as officials of the township putting that important information out. But I do share the sentiment that there should be text, not photographs. And I'm looking over at what you have in front of you, Treasurer Brown, and I'm not suggesting in any way that's political, Supervisor Aliaga, but what I'm seeing there is as if you were trying to sell something, selling a product. It's very beautiful, it's very colorful, has your picture, but there's no content there. So I think if we stick to the spirit of either a very small, modest picture with the text, I don't know that we need to abandon or halt the Township Times. I think it's just a matter of how that's created and striking that appropriate balance.
Sure. So having the grand opening of the playground in Baycore is a political thing. So it's not telling the public, hey, come to the open, something that we done working with Parks and Rec, realizing the parks is bad. Okay, I understand. To me, it's a political thing. Today, my opponents and the people who doesn't like come and attack me. I had a former supervisor who, he created all this. For him, it was okay. He have a free pass to have this for many years using taxpayer money. Let me finish, okay? So that, excuse me.
Don't put your hand in front of me, okay? That's all I'm trying to do is don't put your hand over there.
So that's totally okay. We have the former supervisor coming here attacking me, free speech. He have more than 10 millions, no, than any other resident. He can get, 15, 16 millions, and he want to continue attacking me. Then we have Paul attacking me. This was done for many years, and they didn't have any problem with Pat Kido. Pat Kido have used taxpayer money, promote himself for many years. That's okay. To me, it's no okay. Oh, no, that's totally bad. It's fine. I would like to remove the whole thing forever. I don't want that. I don't want to use taxpayer on that. If you want to keep it, that's fine. I don't have any problem, but today it's just a political attack against me for the whole, these things to start, for Pat Kido and Paul Brown. That's all I have to say. Yeah, please.
Okay, I just want to clarify, I don't have any problem with the announcement for the park. The Parks Department put that out. They put things in this all the time. The resident didn't complain about this, and I heard from more than one. They complained about the side that just had photographs of the supervisor that didn't communicate any information. That's all I'm trying to share. I have suggested we should take that out. I agree, all the pictures from us should come out. I think it's unfair advantage for us to have that. That's why I brought it up. And so, sounds like there's agreement on the board. I would make a motion that effective immediately, that all Township Times articles are approved by the Township Board, and that the full-time elected officials in writing their articles do not add their photographs to their articles.
And the time, okay.
Yeah. Oh, and one other thing that's important, if we cancel this, we're still gonna have a significant amount of costs because there's a number of things that have to be sent out by the clerk's office, especially related to elections. And so we'd end up just having money budgeted separately so that the clerk's office could send out those election things. there would be some time when the treasurer's office is really needs to send out stuff about tax bills and other communications from other departments. It wouldn't eliminate all the money by just canceling this, because we do still have some communication needs. And I agree with Sam, I just don't think our photos need to be in here, and it needs to be content that the board approves, so.
Then, question for you. How many of your clients of your townships that you represent has something like that when you use taxpayer money to use them and that? Because I don't want to do this. I got into this because I have to keep with what was approved for 10 years over Mr. Pat Kittle and Jerry Fisher.
So I can't think of one.
Okay, you don't think of
To-
one.
to the
Okay,
answer.
so we are the only one using taxpayer money doing
Well, I
this.
didn't say that,
Okay.
I don't
All right,
know.
You don't know?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know.
you don't know, but, all right. All right.
Could I just have a clarification? Well, is there a second for the motion?
No, yeah, no, yeah. There's no second, yeah. We
Well,
just-
there's a motion on the floor.
It's just a motion on the floor. yes.
Second it for dialogue.
Okay. So I'm just wondering, just to make clear, so a board approval is only by a board motion. So articles would have to come in front of the board to be approved. I
That's
just
what I
wanna
was
make that-
suggesting.
yeah.
Okay.
I would,
Publicly?
I don't, my reluctance, and I understand the spirit of board approval. The 4 trustees are part-time. We do have full-time jobs in and of itself, right? These are time sensitive, as they go to print. So I think it would be perhaps more appropriate. I think we all understand the spirit of this discussion. We're all adults here. I don't believe this is political because Treasurer Brown is imposing the same restrictions on himself as he is Clerk Newbeck, Supervisor Aliaga, et cetera. So I think more content is good. If it's $1,000 a page and we can cut a page or two out, great. But perhaps we approach this in a way that we come up with maybe some agreed upon standards that in crafting, for posterity's sake, in crafting the Township Times. And keep it simple, keep it informational like we have in large part, and move on. But I don't know, is it gonna be a burden if the board has to approve each of these, and can we have to do that in a public forum? We can't do that through email.
All right, trustee
Ron's-
Morocco.
Let Ron go first. He has-
Sure, Ron.
Yeah, I guess we've discussed the cost of the Township Times multiple times, and I guess my disdain for what's happening with the Township Times is that there's lack of content. It's like if you don't have content for that article time that's coming out, then somebody else should be able to take over that space. Because like I say, it's costing the same amount every time, whether there's content or not, and I guess
It's not, right?
It's
it's
not.
very,
It's not. So for example, we only paid for 3 pages this month. I didn't put anything in it.
well, but
So
I'm just
just-
saying, if we still utilize the page, but we just have pictures on, it, I guess what I'm getting at is text, informational, context for the public, the residents. Like, say we're supposed to be providing information to them, not pictures of people. And like I say, if we can provide advertising for Parks and Rec, or articles that are benefit the residents of the township, then I think that's what we should be concentrating on, not like, hey, we got 3 or 4 pages to fill with pictures and stuff. So.
Right. Okay, hold on, I just want to answer that. So this page, there's the front page, it has my, not a title and picture. It has also the content of my emails and phone number. Then I get multiple phone calls, emails, and that's how people can reach me out as well, just to clarify that. All right, Jim?
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking this through. I mean, the Clarkston News is always looking for information. I feel like this is information that is print-worthy in its own right. Why are we paying to deliver objective township information by paying extra to have it in a glossy version versus having it an article? And for years, the Parks and Rec has a budget to promote and advertise for recruitment for T-ball and soccer leagues. And yes, the grand opening of the new playground. Those are all legitimate expenditures, like that beautiful ad for the grand opening. That can be paid a la carte. But otherwise, shouldn't township business, like legitimate township business, be worthy of a conversation with a member of the press to tell our story and get that information out. I don't know, just open for discussion, and we save the taxpayers $3,000, $4,000 a month.
So it comes down to content. You know, it has to be worthy content.
They're not gonna let it put it for free now.
Well, I know, they've been
They're not
used
gonna let
to,
do it for free.
Okay, Karen.
When Supervisor Aliaga first started, it was one of my concerns with the cost that we were paying with the Township Times. We were supplementing them quite a bit, and he and I discussed it, and I believe at that time we worked to try to minimize the number of pages, not to take light of the parks and their ads, but I felt that parks ads were often more a filler. We do pay, you know, the township residents pay for Parks and Rec advertising magazine, and Parks and Rec does also have a Facebook page. Up until recently, the township did not have a Facebook page that gave us another avenue for getting out information to the residents. I think we worked well with trying to bring things down and to cut pages because it is costly. But I will also say that even though now that we've moved to have a Facebook page where we do put out a lot of this same information and the multiple departments, there are still several residents who are not on Facebook, who do read the newspaper. I know a resident by fact that reads every single word that's from the front to the back page of the Clarkston News. So it has been, I think, a great avenue for us to get the word out. I do say it is costly. I have no concerns with taking pictures out. You know, I came in, this was in place, but for my department especially, I do think it's a great avenue. We have a lot of changes that happen, especially during election time. There's a lot of deadlines for me to try to meet. And we do, I would say, you know, the newspaper is under some newer ownership. Maybe they would take another look at doing things like that. But the newspaper also used to be present at our meetings, and they reported on our meetings. And I think we are getting some more of that more recently. But I think we would all agree that they haven't really done a great job on recapping in the past, things that even happened at our board meetings, I think. So oftentimes, we're taking pictures, submitting pictures to them to try to, you know, get word out. So I will say in his defense that we have worked to try to minimize the cost because it is quite costly. But for my own department, I don't have a problem with getting rid of pictures and things like that with our names. But I would appreciate that we could still have that avenue to reach the people, because I have it's a great resource for especially some of our elderly people that aren't on Facebook and social media to be alerted of things that are happening, so. I'm not opposed to having it come before the board for approval, as Treasurer Brown mentioned, but there may be instances, not so much for me, because I know our deadline's ahead of time, but other things that are happening might come about where there's, you know, after the deadline, so we might miss that deadline to come before the board for approval when something might come up, is all I'm thinking.
Yes.
And I'm gonna retract my motion. How do I do that?
Well, you didn't get a second, so.
Yeah, you didn't have a second.
Well,
There's no motion on it.
No motion, yeah.
okay, so.
All right.
Okay, so.
I saw you want to talk, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
say a
still
few
wanna
words,
talk,
yeah.
What the clerk said is true, in that the supervisor did kind of work with them so that we stopped paying for 4 pages. And we only paid, when we had 4 pages, we would pay for it. We have less than that, like this one, we only paid for 3 pages, and that's true that Supervisor Alia did that last year when he came in. The other component of this that we haven't yet talked about is that when we originally started this, the Clarkston News wasn't mailed out to all the houses. And the township taking out the Township Times once a month became the time they sent the paper out to all the houses that month. Well, that's all changed now, because now they mail it out every week to everybody. And so that part of it's changed too, and so I think, you know, you have to consider that.
Yeah.
It's going to them anyways, And I understand what the board, I think we understand what the board wants as far as content. How we get there is, board decision.
Sure. Okay, trustee Morocco.
In lieu of pictures, I mean, I'd like to see, the content that I would think that we should focus on is stuff that, like these ordinance changes that aren't a public hearing, so we're not posting them as a public hearing, but to let people know that we're implementing a food truck thing, we're implementing a short-term rental ordinance, that, to let them know that things are being talked about, that there's future agendas to be looking for. I think that's what the residents are always surprised when something just happened, or when did they just change that rule? When did that just happen? You know, like, I think that we lack a little bit of just if it takes us 2 readings, one of, before the second reading, there's somehow what we're about to change for the resident should be, generally put in there. Now, I know planning commission meetings and all that, in little tiny corners of the paper and stuff, there's notifications of meetings, but this is what people read to kind of find out what we're up to, and I think that those items could be a little bit better put in there of what we've been up to, what have we accomplished as a board, and what residents might have interest in and want to participate in the future before it's too late. So, I don't know whose section that is, but I think that there could be a little bit more of that to let people know what we're up to.
Sure. Carrie?
I was just gonna do a short follow-up to what he said. Outside of the ordinances, I agree, but the ordinances by law were required to publish first and second reading. So there would be a summary of the ordinance that could alert the residents. And also, there's always a synopsis of our meeting that is published, that's outside of the Township Times as well. So there are some avenues, at least with ordinances, that we do touch base with the residents. I just wanted to comment.
Maybe a little like what's up section, or what's coming up, or what's happening, just to get people, because they might not, they might have something to come and say, and it goes by fast, so, but I'm all for no pictures right now, and I'm not interested in proofreading your guys' articles. I think you can police yourselves. If it gets crazy, bring it to the attention of the board like you did tonight, would be my suggestion.
Sure. I agree. When you say no pictures, so are you talking about, want the park new grand opening, or you're talking about this picture right here?
Full-time officials.
Okay, pictures, so.
Just from the supervisor's office,
right.
from the clerk's office, from the treasurer's office, the assessor.
Okay, all right, so you know when the
You can put the
pictures.
chief's picture in there
Okay.
when he's got something to say if you want.
Okay, good. Good, I can put you, okay. So my intent was this, is just put the grand opening for vehicle. That's all my intention was. And then I'm kinda surprised, because if I don't recall wrong, when the last, on 2022, Mr. Fisher, I remember he was putting the article, nobody in the board was concerned about he putting his thing there, or remove his name or whatever. I don't have any problem, I don't, because even if I recall that last time, I didn't need to put my name or nothing in the Independence Times or nothing. The outcome of what happened at that time was different anyways. It doesn't matter. But no, I don't have any problem. Again, I don't want to put there all this. I don't want to spend any money if I can, but I don't oppose this either. I would like to support something where we not use taxpayer money in this. That's my take on this. But okay, that's fine. If you want to make your motion, Paul, it's fine.
No, there's no motion now.
No motion now? All right, we'll have better direction then, I guess, this time. All right, moving on then. Thank you. Good discussion, by the way. Okay, we're moving to closed session.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and announce it.
Okay, we're gonna go to a closed session at 8:03.
I'd like to make a motion to enter into closed session to discuss confidential legal opinions pursuant to the Michigan Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.268H and MCL 15.2431G, and authorize David Pichet, Fire Chief, Renee Herbert, Business Manager, and Richard Cummins, Lieutenant from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office to attend.
Okay, roll call. Okay,
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Treasurer Brown?
Yes?
Trustee Morocco?
Yes.
Trustee Nalamothu?
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yes.
Trustee Tedder?
Yes.
And Supervisor Aliaga, and it is 8:04.
yes.
Motion carried. All right, I'd like to make a motion to return from closed session and resume the regular meeting at 9:05 PM.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're not making decision tonight, and then we're moving on. Communications. We have the report of 2024 actual to the budget comments for period ending on March 31st, 2024. Building Department activity, March 2024. Oakland County Sheriff Department, March 2024. And with all that, we have board member comments. Anyone? No? Okay. I need
Make
a
a
motion.
motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Hey, son.
Yes, sir.